Okay, so let's have your hands and eyes up at the smartboard and see what we need to talk about today. So we need to review our solar and wind energy that we talked about yesterday, and then we're going to continue talking about more renewable energies with geothermal and hydroelectricity. We'll take a virtual field trip to Hoover Dam, and then we also have some other video clips that will help you see how hydroelectricity is made and also uses in real life for geothermal energy. So let's go ahead and take out your guided notes out of your classroom folders. So get those guided notes out, have something to write with. Do that right now. Everybody should be getting in their classroom folders and getting out their guided notes. Okay, so let's review yesterday's material when we talked about solar and wind energy. We talked about renewable energy as a resource that's always available, and it can be naturally replaced in a relatively short amount of time. So as opposed to non-renewable energy, which takes millions of years for it to actually form so that we could use that as energy, renewable energy is really available really anytime, and it can be replaced or replenished within a relatively short amount of time. So not billions and billions of years like non-renewable energy. We also talked about different types of renewable energy as solar, wind, geothermal, and hydro. So yesterday then we talked about solar. Okay, and solar energy is the energy we acquire from the sun. And we talked about photovoltaic cells, how those are the different cells that make up like a solar panel, and that is able to absorb that light energy. You have that energy transformation, which we talked about when we talked about different types of energy, how it's being transformed from solar energy into electrical energy that we use to power our house or even Las Vegas. So we know that solar energy is clean and renewable. And we'll see different ways today how Las Vegas is powered, not only through solar energy, because you could have those solar farms like we saw in the videos yesterday, but also through hydroelectricity through Hoover Dam. So then you can see how it could be powered, because if you haven't been to Las Vegas, there's lots of lights that need powered. So there's different sources of energy that is clean and renewable that you could use to power those larger cities. Okay, and then we also talked yesterday about wind energy and how wind is used to make electricity. Again, it's through an energy transformation, because you have the wind, and as that blows, it spins the blades on a turbine like a toy pinwheel that we talked about. And when those blades turn, then the turbine operates and electricity is generated. So that's how it's transforming from kinetic energy, from when that wind is spinning those blades, into an electrical energy that we can use in our houses. So we said wind turbines can be up to 10 stories high with blades as long as 50 feet, but it does not create any kind of pollution. And for it to be able to produce electricity from wind, the wind has to be at least 12 to 14 miles per hour. Okay, so now you should be on the part that says, what is geothermal energy? And this is the last page of your guided notes. So make sure you're on your last page of your guided notes where it says, what is geothermal energy? And if you broke down this word, you're going to be able to understand exactly what it means. Because we know that geo means earth, and thermal means, everyone should know this one, heat. So we've talked about that a lot. Geothermal energy then taps into the Earth's internal heat to create electricity to heat and cool buildings. Actually, our new buildings at Circleville will be using geothermal energy. So they'll be digging and laying that foundation for the geothermal energy to be able to heat and cool the new buildings with that renewable source of energy. So we'll have to watch a video clip to see how geothermal energy works and how that's actually going to be working within our new buildings. So how is geothermal energy then produced? Well, we have geothermal power plants. And this is a little bit different than maybe how the schools would be used, because we're not going to go through a geothermal power plant per se, but there are geothermal power plants that are used to power, larger areas. So geothermal power plants use the steam from hot water to produce electricity. So in places like Iceland or even in Hawaii, where there's lots of volcanic activity, they're going to use that heat to produce steam that will then enable them to produce electricity. And that steam rotates a turbine that activates a generator. Which produces electricity. Okay, so geothermal power plants use steam from hot water to produce electricity, and the steam rotates a turbine that then activates a generator which produces electricity. And there are three types of geothermal power plants. So there's a dry steam, there's a flash steam, and a binary cycle. I don't expect you to necessarily know those three types of geothermal power plants, but just kind of be aware of the different types, that if you're exposed to information that's talking about geothermal power, then you would be familiar and have heard those words before. So a dry steam, a flash steam, or a binary cycle are the different types of geothermal power plants that are used. So let's go on and talk more about hydroelectricity then. So hydro energy is electricity made using water. So hydro energy is electricity made using water. So hydro is water. That should be easy for you to remember. Hydro energy makes electricity because the water flowing down a river is used to spin the turbines inside a generator. So a lot of the things we've talked about, all the different types of renewable energy, goes through that kinetic energy of spinning a turbine. Because in every type of renewable energy we've discussed, there's always been a turbine involved. And it's inside a generator, which then produces that electricity. So hydro energy makes electricity because the water flowing down a river is used to spin turbines inside a generator. And what type of rivers then work best to generate hydroelectricity? So usually large rivers with fast flowing water are the best to generate hydroelectricity. So large rivers with fast flowing waters. And hydro energy is clean. It doesn't produce any greenhouse gases or burn fossil fuels. So hydro energy is like solar and wind energy because it's renewable. We know that there's plenty of this, that it's abundant, we can use it, and it's replenished. So hydropower then converts kinetic energy. We talked about kinetic energy is the energy due to your movement. So it converts kinetic energy from falling water into electricity. And it never uses up more water than what nature produces. So it converts that kinetic energy from falling water into electricity. And it never uses up any more water than what nature produces. So then how much does hydro energy cost to produce in comparison to the cost of like operating a nuclear or a fossil fuel powered facility? Does it cost a lot more to set up a hydroelectric plant on the, along the Niagara Falls or Hoover Dam? Well, it doesn't. The cost for a hydroelectric plant is 1/3 the cost of a nuclear or fossil fuel facility. So really, it would make a lot of sense to start setting more of the hydroelectric dams up. So the cost for a hydroelectric plant is, on average, 1/3 the cost of a nuclear or fossil fuel powered facility. Oops. Fossil fueled powered facility. So they don't cost nearly as much as having a fossil fuel power facility like burning coal, or having some kind of oil refinery. So they're 1/3 the cost to build these as one of those types of refineries or coal production plants. So let's take a little bit, let's look a little bit into Hoover Dam. So this is a picture